Hey, volleyball families. Do you have a shy athlete or maybe an athlete that you're afraid is not going to necessarily open up and communicate well with college coaches when that time comes? If you do, this video is definitely for you. Or maybe even you have an athlete that is very concerned about having a phone call with a college coach or is unsure of what to do. And that's one of their biggest fears in the recruiting process. So they're kind of dragging their feet to get themselves there. This video is definitely for you too. And I totally get it. I can absolutely relate. See, there's a misconception in the recruiting process that one of the first steps that you need to do is start sending out highlight reels to college coaches, whether that be through email or whether that be through a recruiting platform. That the first thing you just need to do is you just need to send out stuff to college coaches. And this is actually setting your volleyball player up for failure because this is not the beginning of the process. This is the beginning of chaos. Because one thing that I have seen in my years of working with volleyball players is that most of them are very socially intelligent, meaning they understand that this phone call with a coach or this communication with a coach is something that will be setting them up for their future. So there is a lot of pressure on themselves to make sure they get it right. They also are aware that if they say something that's a little bit off, it can drastically change the college coach's perception of them. So when you're just sending out highlight films, when you're just sending out emails, or even worse, if just the parent is sending out emails for the kid, when that kid jumps on the phone call, all of these questions like, what did the coach actually like about me? Why does this coach want to have a phone call with me? What did they see that they like? Are they having a phone call with me because they don't actually like me? All of these questions are flashing through your child's mind, and rightfully so, because they're not exactly sure what was communicated with the college coach that caught their eye. That's where I do things differently. I make you take a step back when we do the recruiting process. And it's not something that's going to take a lot of time. It's not something that is going to take a lot of energy. It's actually just refocusing you and your player on things that you already know, things that you already have the answers to. But it's gathering that information and showing you where to group it into the actual process itself to make the whole process more streamlined and make more sense so that your shy or quiet or very intelligent volleyball player can confidently communicate their volleyball value to college coaches. So think about it this way. Let's say you are doing a puzzle and you have so much of the puzzle done and you think everything's looking good, and then all of a sudden you realize that you can't complete this entire section of the outline because you're missing one big piece. So if you can't complete that section, it's going to trickle down into the other part. So you're going to have to either work backwards, you're going to have to work sideways, you're going to have to work all the way around. You're going to have to do things differently than what you had initially planned versus just having all the pieces to be able to move forward confidently to complete the task at hand. This is the same thing when you're doing the recruiting process and trying to force things or trying to push things, or worse, trying to just tell your quiet or shy athlete, just suck it up and talk to them. That does not help, but I understand the frustration because you as the parent know that they have awesome value to add to these teams. We just have to help your child bottle that up and make it something that they know is presentable to a coach. That way, when they communicate with a coach through that, they're aware what the college coach saw in them, what the college coach liked, and what they are showing them. So they know exactly what they need to say on the phone call to keep things cohesive. Rather than guessing, being unsure, not being able to prep, they can actually prep because they know exactly what they're showing college coaches. It's not a guessing game. They're not trying to be what one college wants for this and what one college wants for this. They're showing their volleyball value in a way that's comprehensive to college coaches, attractive to college coaches, and helps them see the whole picture of who they are, not just on the court, but off the court as well. And remember, this truly is the starting point of the recruiting process. And I don't know Any other coach that starts with this, you have to start with your foundation. If you don't start with a solid foundation, everything else is going to eventually crumble or just be that much more stressful. That's why I create these little things, because some people are in different parts of their process. Some people are just missing puzzle pieces. Some people need just one little help. So that's why I created this. And I have an actual foundation system. And it's so easy to use and literally the same price as a cup of coffee. So when you go into this system, you fill out the information, you make sure that your athlete has a quality understanding of who they are. And then I don't just stop there. I help them understand how to use this information moving forward, how to use this information to communicate with college coaches in a way that's going to stick out to them. And I do have another video that talks about communicating with college coaches directly. And of course, if you haven't guessed, I do that part differently as well. So make sure you check out that other video. But this is the foundation. This is the start. This is where I wish every single person, no matter what they do after this, would start their college volleyball recruiting journey, because it's one, going to help the child understand their volleyball value, but then two, on a deeper level, it's going to really align with my mission. And that is to help all of these kids understand that they are more than just their volleyball value. They're not defined by what they do on the court. They're not defined by a coach's response to them. This volleyball value is just this separate outside thing that they have been gifted with and that they can use and that they can grow. Their individual value is not defined by that volleyball value, but it's really hard for a player to separate out those two things if they don't understand what a volleyball value is. So there's a sneaky reason behind why I really love this program and why I really love offering this to people, because it is crucial not only for the recruiting process, but their life as a volleyball player as a whole. I know when I was finished playing college volleyball, it was a very hard transition for me to the normal world, because I no longer was the college athlete. I no longer was the college volleyball player. I was just a person. And it was really hard for me to change that and make that mindset shift to be able to step into my other roles and find success and push myself and do other things. So when I was able to start seeing I have a volleyball value, but that volleyball value is not all who I am. What I am, it goes into that volleyball value. But that volleyball value does not define me, limit me, or create me in any way. So there's kind of the two underlying reasons as to why I love this and why I want you to have it, and why I made it to where you all can grab it whenever you want. You don't have to wait to get on a phone call with me, because my hours are crazy. You don't have to wait to come into my office. You don't have to wait for anything. You can access this at any time right now. So if you are ready to figure out your child's volleyball value, if you're ready to help them be confident and communicate with college coaches in a way that's going to completely transform their recruiting process, you have to grab this foundations.